I'm here on a self-imposed lockdown quarantine as the coronavirus is sweeping the world, and it's given me time to do a few different projects, and the one I'm doing right now is making my own cement flower pots to decorate our camping site out at the reserve here at the Rimpa Estates Wildlife Conservancy. And I've already finished a few steps along the way. I've made the mold, and where I held the mold together with screws, I've patched it over with some wood putty, and now I have to sand that down. But I'm pretty happy with the design. It's about 18 inches high and 18 inches square, but the sides will be at an angle. I started off with this big sheet of what they call ceiling board here, and that it can come in plain and it can come with this pattern. So I bought a sheet with this pattern. It's actually a little recessed flower image on there, and I cut out 4 pieces like this in this trapezoid shape, and they fit together to form kind of a cone that goes down like that. So this is the base, and the 4 pieces will fit together around it like this. And then inside of this cone, the centerpiece will slide down inside. At the bottom I've put this little PVC pipe, and that sticks up into the bottom of the inner bit, and that will allow for drainage. And this plus symbol is raised up. It's a single sheet of this ceiling board, and that should allow for drainage. So it has these 4 feet on the corners, and then the drainage hole comes down into the middle, and it will allow the excess water to drain out the side. My plan is to make 6 of these planters, and in order to do that I have to make sure that the wood doesn't get ruined from the cement. So I'm planning to give them a few coats of paint. Alright, I'm done with my coat of primer on all the pieces, and now I'm getting ready to do a couple of coats of gloss white. Okay, it's been a few days. I've put a coat of primer and 2 coats of glossy oil-based paint on all of the wood, front and back. So now I just have to assemble it, and then I'll add some caulk in the seams to smooth it up. Okay, I have screwed all of the pieces together, and I added a couple of support pieces along the longer edges, just to make sure that when the pressure of the cement is inside, it doesn't bow outward. So I put one on this side and another one on this side. And now I'm going in with the caulk to seal up the edges. So I'll do all around the bottom and then up the sides. That'll keep the water and the cement from oozing out, and it'll kind of curve the corners a little bit so they aren't super sharp right angled edges. I'm going to make a square ring of this rebar that goes inside, maybe have it sit about 2 inches down from the top and go all the way around, just as a way to reinforce it. So here's the finished ring of rebar. It's kind of hard to show with one hand available, but it should sit about like that. Well, now I've reached the part that I don't particularly enjoy, which is the mixing of the cement. Mostly because I don't know what I'm doing. I've dabbled in it a little bit, but I don't know the best ratio to make something that's freestanding like this. I've got this Simba cement, which is a popular brand here in Kenya. It doesn't really talk about the ratio on the bag. It just says use proper ratios, and you're supposed to figure that out yourself. I'm going to try and do somewhere between 1 cement 2 sand to maybe 1 cement 3 sand, somewhere in between there. So here it is. I hope it's the right consistency. They say it should be like oatmeal. I don't know. Some people like their oatmeal runny and some like it lumpy, so I don't know. We'll see if this works or if it doesn't work. So what I plan to do is to fill the bottom up until the top of this little PVC pipe right here. And then I'll set this inside on top of it. And then I will fill the gaps all the way around. We'll see how this goes. Okay, I've filled up to the top of this little tube. Hopefully when I set the cone down inside, it comes in contact with it at least a little bit. It's not that critical because this is the bottom of the inside. And even if there are some air gaps at this point, it doesn't matter. The middle cone is in place. It's hard to see, but the cement is down there at the bottom. I've reached the level with the cement inside where I want to put the rebar reinforcement. So I'm going to remove this brace, set this down in there, and then put the brace back on top again. Well, here it is. I ended up having to mix 3 batches of cement to fill it up. Maybe I'll try mixing 1 giant batch when I do the next one. I'm going to let it sit overnight and try to pull out the inner cone tomorrow after it's had a chance to cure a little bit. It's the next morning and I got a little too excited about getting the centerpiece pulled out of this, so I started working on that without filming, but all I've gotten done so far is pulling off the base, and it came off pretty easily without any problems. The PVC pipe pulled out of the middle and it just damaged that center hole a little bit, but you know, this is the underneath and the bottom. You'll never even see that. So far I'm very happy with that, but my concern is that the inside isn't going to pull out as easily as I had hoped. So I've tipped it over, I've set the edges up on supports so the center is not, so there's nothing under the center. That way when I start pounding on this through that hole, hopefully the centerpiece can pop out. We'll see what happens. It popped out very easily with just a few seconds of hitting it with a hammer through that bottom hole. It wasn't exactly a planned part of the design, but it worked out nicely. And I have my helpers, as always. Just pop right out, and would you look at that? That's kind of pretty. I had thought about waiting to take these off to give it a little more time to cure, so the little flower pattern on the side doesn't get damaged, but as I'm looking at the bottom, the pattern that was left from the little plus sign down there, it's actually really nice and smooth, so, and it came out easily without damaging it. So I'm going to be optimistic and pop off the sides now and see what happens. It's popping a little bit as I go. Maybe that's a good sign? I don't know. Not bad. So the next one I do, I'm going to wait and take the outside boards off later. Give them more time to cure before I pop those off. I think it's only been maybe 13, 14 hours since I poured it yesterday. Alright, that was not expected. Overall, it's not too bad. You can see each side has a little bit of this where the cement peeled off because I took the sides off too soon. I got too excited. It's been several weeks, and here is the finished planter. I'm very happy with it. There are no cracks, and the imperfections don't bother me at all. I'm just surprised at how heavy it is. It's a lot heavier than I thought it would turn out to be.